Live.
Yes, yes. It's Tim McKernan Show. I'm currently searching for cute boys. They got new gifts for cute boys.
Oh, do they? Look it up.
There's two younger Asian gentlemen who are about to make out, and then they pull away. Oh, man, I got to find a good one here. Sorry, I'm searching for a gift. Let me just text Bill here.
Yeah, now we're both looking at the cute boys
Cute
section.
boys gift for my Twitter account.
It's an eyebrow raise and a wink one.
Oh, it's just so hot. I like what I'm doing. Welcome to Questions from the Audience. It's the Tim McKernan Show podcast.
Some of these are crazy.
You can always send your questions in TMCKERNAN at InsideSTL.com. Questions, comments, and erotic stories. They get read here and answered here. It's 12:31 on Tuesday, August 13th, and I am cutting this podcast off at 1:01. Jackson, you want to bet against it?
I do, but it's kind of like you don't want to poke the bear, essentially. You don't want to bet an amount that would then change the host's mindset, because I would bet the
Why don't you
over.
bet like $10?
All right, I'll bet $10.
You want to bet $10?
I'll bet $10. But even then, I feel like I've just lit $10 on fire.
Absolutely. I might be here until 4 just scrolling through the cute boys' gifts that I'm debating whether or not to, or which ones to tweet out.
This bet is essentially like giving a guy a basketball and saying, I'll bet you $10 that you make it. And then like the person's like, okay, and then chucks it to the other side. Well, shit. Couldn't have seen that one coming. But I still feel confident enough that you'll go over 101.
All right, I have sent. I'm really pleased with my tweet. Right. The gift depot is active.
The fucked up thing is that that looks like it's in like some basement in Fenton. Like that's where those guys look like they took that video. Oh, my God.
I'm so delighted with
my great beard work.
My handiwork. It's got to confuse the fuck out of people.
Oh, yeah.
They got to be like, this guy got hacked. He never tweets. What's he doing with his social media? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Questions from the Audience, Tim McKernan Show podcast, and that's Jackson Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. I've got 28 minutes to capitalize before Jackson Venmos me $10. We're brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies, Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling, and Jamie Burkhardt and Peter Munganast of Munganast St. Louis Acura, Munganast Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. I've got so many questions stored up here that I hate to put a cap on it, but I gotta adhere to it. I want to say this at the outset. I asked people to send in if they were playing fantasy radio / podcasts, fantasy TMA for lack of a better term. Who would you put on the lineup? And there are kind of different positions. There has to be somebody who can run the board.
Yeah, I have to have that.
And then what you do from that point forward is kind of up to you. But what I'm telling you is, at this particular moment in radio history, Hubbard isn't just going to be adding on. I don't think too many radio places are just adding on. So if you want to add somebody, and this is where it puts the people to the test, Jackson, then you got to subtract somebody.
Right.
And so I did get some emails on that.
Okay.
But then here's the thing. As far as reading them on the show, I don't necessarily feel good about that, because like if I'm reading and it's, they're saying I want this person off the show.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
It's tough.
It's a tough spot.
Very much
now,
so.
if they were saying, Tim, I'd like you off the show,
right,
I'd read it.
Yeah.
Or if they were saying, Jackson, I'd like you off the show, and I actually sent that in.
Oh, yeah. Timmy Baseball.
Timmy Baseball 69 at AOL.com.
Yeah.
So thank you, and you're welcome to do it, and recognize that it isn't necessarily for the air, but it provides feedback. And, if you don't want your name read on the show, I promise you, I'm just not going to betray that,
right.
But I guess you can be skeptical if you want. Tim McKernan at InsideSTL.com if you want to play fantasy TMA radio GM. Let me go into open up the YouTube here. Anything on your mind, Jackson, before I go to the emails that you want to get off your chest? You're fresh off a weekend in Chi-Town. Stand up.
And a great weekend it was. Do you know that there's people out there with iPhones that don't have their percentage of battery in the top right corner and just raw dog it? Like,
what is their
eyeballing it?
reasoning for raw dogging? I mean, I suppose it doesn't surprise me because people might not be aware. I'm at 79% right now.
But isn't that reassuring to know the exact amount of battery you have left and not
I'm
just
constantly
eyeball it?
charging my phone. If it
like
gets
my
down
father.
below 50, I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah, you're like my dad.
Yeah.
I can't fathom not knowing. Like, the technology exists where we can know the exact amount of battery, and I'll never get that. But there are people out there.
Did you talk it over with Oatmeal and ask him why he doesn't do it?
No, Oatmeal's the most tech-savvy guy.
Oh, is that
No,
right?
He would never do something so silly.
Yeah, he's a good man, but just has monster areolas.
And that's the thing, and he's in great shape, too, so it's...
And he can't do anything about it, I guess.
Yeah, it's just, that's the cards he was dealt.
I got 25 minutes, and I got to make the most of them. How about this in the YouTube chat? I just want to say I've been listening to the show religiously since January 2011. With Jackson on the board, the show has been the most fun I've been listened to. Jackson on the drops and the knowledge he the knowledge he brings when giving his opinion has been terrific. Awesome stuff, guys. Sorry, driving and texting in is difficult. Apologies for the disjointed message.
Thank you. That's a very, extremely kind message, and I'm very grateful, not only for that message, but all the listeners who tune in and have told me something similar. Very, very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Jackson, what Bob Does Sports Challenge would be most fun for the dais? Eating challenge, T-flip, wheel of drinks.
Ooh, that's a great
Coaches
question.
John and Dean Ellis in the YouTube chat.
So for those who don't know, they sometimes do challenges and then a 9-hole scramble attached to that. So I'm going to take out the booze challenges because Doug would be out. Doug wouldn't do that, and I want Doug to be involved. So the booze challenge is out.
All right.
And I'm going to take out the 9 hot dog challenge for 9 holes because that sounds like the worst way to spend an afternoon of all time. I will go with they once did the Hot Ones challenge where they eat 10 super spicy wings.
Oh.
Well, the wings that work their way up to super spicy and then play 9 holes of golf. I think that would be really entertaining.
That actually does sound intriguing to me.
Yeah, that
it's a
would be-
sketch and a bit, but that one intrigues me.
Sure, but and there's room and for those guys, they put out 2 videos a week. Eventually, you got to do some sketches and bits, and that one was really funny.
How many videos a week do they do?
They do 2 videos a week.
Are all those guys like making a
Yes.
bunch of money?
Yes. They've all quit their
God bless.
primary jobs, and that's all they do full time.
Oh, loads on my chest.
But it's not just like the YouTube stuff. They have a clothing line. They now have a drink, like a seltzer kind of thing out. So it's multiple revenue streams. But yeah,
God bless them.
that's all they do. They make pretty good money. They all moved down to Jupiter.
Oh, really? Wow. Now you just now I'm going to be off. All right. I'm just going to go in order. Hey, Tim, a couple questions that I wanted to pose to you. This was sent on Thursday. It's been over a week since the deal where the Cardinals acquired Tommy Pham, and while I thought it was a nice move for the club, I can't help but notice the double standard from this fan base. This was someone that was a polarizing figure who has certainly jumped around from team to team since his initial trade, 7 teams in a span of 4 years, and while some may like his demeanor, this initial honeymoon phase may be short-lived. Curious to get your thoughts on if you think this team... I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning. What the fuck's going on?
Sometimes those will come up with me too, and I can't help but...
I have no idea. And I felt like I got a good night's sleep last night, too. Curious to get your thoughts on if you think this team can turn it around. Now, since this gentleman sent the email, which was Thursday, August 8th, it has been rough.
Yeah.
I actually like throwing $100 on the Cardinals to win the Central, not because I think they'll win the Central, but because I'm getting 14 to 1 on my money, and they play the Brewers 6 times, and I'm still not sold on the Brewers. The Cardinals' issue would be the pitching and then the continued offensive ups and downs of Goldschmidt and Arenado. But Tommy Pham, I don't know. I don't necessarily follow the double standard thing that he brings up. That intrigues me more than like, what do I think the Cardinals are going to do? And I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost on that.
I'm not challenging because this gentleman sent in multiple emails over the years and has asked some good questions. I don't follow like how it would be a double standard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you could maybe read that part, the double standard part.
While I thought it was a nice move for the club, I can't help but notice the double standard from this fan base. This was someone that was a polarizing figure who has certainly jumped around from team to team since his initial trade, 7 teams in a span of 4 years, and while some may like his demeanor, the initial honeymoon phase may be short-lived. Curious to get your thoughts on if you think this team can turn around.
I think the double standard might come from like the fans not being approving of bringing back someone like Matt Carpenter, but on board with bringing back someone like Tommy Pham. And I think the key difference there is timing. One's an off-season move when you had a terrible offense last year and you bring in Matt Carpenter, and the other is you can't hit lefties and Tommy Pham hammers lefties.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's talking about like behaviorally, I gather, and how it's a double standard, but I don't know. I don't know on that, and I just don't fully grasp what he's asking. Yeah. So perhaps at some point Dan can follow up. Another question is related to QFTA from a couple weeks ago regarding you getting hate if you ever left the show, as well as sponsors for TMA. Well, I don't think I brought up sponsors.
I don't remember that being a part of the conversation.
No, it was just me leaving TMA.
Right.
And then, for a point of example, Charlie replacing me, Jackson being on, Iggy being on, Doug being on, and then I go do something else.
Right.
And it might not even be in broadcasting, for that matter.
Right.
And then you told me I still would receive hatred. And you don't even hesitate on that. That's the first time. But anyway, that's been a topic. So I would have to agree with Jackson regarding getting hate by those who hate you on TMA. You are the leader and mainstay of TMA, whether you like to think that or not. You got the hate when politics were discussed on TMA, and for those that wanted you to hold Doug accountable, that's a nice observation. That is accurate. I hate Doug's opinion. Tim, why are you allowing him to say it?
Yeah, again, this is more...
This gentleman's doing a nice job trying the case.
Gunpowder.
Let's see what else. You got the hate when Plowboy was fired, even though you didn't fire him. On both those examples, the people that complained to you and hated how you handled the situation, the same goes for it if you were to leave TMA and TMA continues. They did not hate your politics, but they still directed the hate towards you. If you were to leave the show and the show continues, you would absolutely receive hate from those that hate you, because they would still hate you and blame you for shit happening. Just like when Doug would espouse InfoWars shit, they would get pissed at you. Bottom line, some people hate you and will never not hate you. Yep. If TMA ends, you will receive hate. If TMA continues, you will receive hate.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I like this guy's email.
Pretty comprehensive.
Can we give away a Fox Sports robot or something?
Sure, a Bally Sports, I don't even know what their little trinket would be, but it's something from them.
A blackout, I guess.
Yeah, Mike Schilt interview from 3 years ago.
That's right. So I have to say, I tip my cap. That kind of simplifies it. I guess I was looking for, like, I'm trying to understand it.
You were asking for the logic behind it, and that's a fool's errand, because there would be an illogical thing.
But I don't know. It's like I don't want this podcast to be about that again. But I'm just like curious. Like, what is the root of? It's because I don't know.
I think maybe access, both on TMA.
I was playing golf. I'll go ahead and say it. It'll mean nothing to 99% of the people, but whatever. I was playing golf with him, and he was kind of asking this question too. Billy Shacklady. You ever cross paths with Billy Shacklady? Wonderful gentleman. It's a great name, isn't it?
TMA lore.
Yeah. And he was kind of wondering. He was kind of doing his own QFTA as we're walking down a fairway. Yeah. And I go, I don't know. He goes, I've come to the conclusion it's you make yourself accessible.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I would think that's a good thing. And he goes, but then that invites people in to think that they can become friends with you.
Not only that, but the show, TMA, the show, is extremely accessible. If you text in, you can be a major contributor on the show's content from a day-to-day basis.
We're disliked, I guess, by some people on 101, but I don't feel it. You know, I don't know how to describe it.
Because you don't have like a history of there is like some sort of not something that isn't earned essentially, but like when someone who's been a TMA texter for 8, 6, 7 years says something, it holds a little different weight than just random phone number calling you a homosexual.
As is often the case when Jackson does a Sports Center update. All right, next point of the email. Finally, I wanted to inquire about sponsorships on TMA. Oh, somebody's looking to buy advertising. Along with how the business was run back at 920. The conversation you and Jackson had on TMA yesterday regarding the text inbox followed by the hat orders for TMA seemed to be rather odd and got my conspiratorial mind going. You asked Jackson on air about the text inbox sponsor, and he mentioned not to plug it, which when I initially heard it to be rather mundane. However, to hearing you apologize for the issues of the hats, I wondered if they were related. Lastly, and a completely random question about you running 920, did you broker time out while there, or did all the hosts and producers outside of TMA get paid by Inside STL, or was it a combination? With regard to the hat thing, I mean, the hat thing is something that, I mean, I feel like I'm talking to like 30 people. Mm-hmm. But I really do, and Jackson knows this, I am very, I don't know what the right word, I'm not happy with it, to be polite, because it's not the way that I like to do business. And but as I said, it's not. Hey, it's my responsibility when it comes to merchandise. That is a 100% TMA thing. That is in my agreement with Hubbard. That's a 100% TMA thing. Things on the show, you can like them, you can dislike them, you can blame me for them. That's fine. I understand it. That comes with, I guess, the territory. Even though I don't know how it does, but I know that it does. So fine. But I'm not signing paychecks at Hubbard. But when it comes to the merch, that is my thing, and this has been a source of frustration. So going forward, we're going to be taking it in a different direction. I can assure you of that. But for the record, Mike Flanagan and what he does with the T-shirts and the hoodies has been A+ from, I don't know, when we started working with him. I'm actually kind of in awe of how good and how quickly he does get the hat.
Yeah.
The shirts and the hoodies are a separate thing.
Yes. Different thing.
As in the T-shirts.
It's given us opportunities, talking about Flanagan, to do stuff that we could have never done. Like when the Blues were playing the Avalanche and we put all the Kroenke stuff, the Kroenke and the Clown Nose stuff. We could have never done that before because it would have taken way too long. By the time we would have gotten the stuff, the series would have been over. But Flanagan's system allowed it to just go up in a matter of days, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's an important distinction. And with regard to the hats and shirts, the issue with like the Holderness and Bourne and the hats, if we were to buy a bunch of them and then wait for them to be sold, we could be sitting there with an inventory. And Holderness and Bourne shirts are, I don't know, $100 shirts.
Yeah.
So if I'm buying 30 shirts and I'm spending $3,000, let's take shipping and taxes out of it just for the sake of round numbers, and we sell 15, I've just lost $1,500.
Right.
Why the hell would we do that?
Right.
Hats have cost as well, and Mike Flanagan doesn't handle the hats and the Holderness and Bourne stuff. He handles T-shirts and hoodies, and so they are purchased as they are ordered, and so that is one of the reasons for the delay, and then they have to be embroidered. That's that part of the question. And then with regard to the arrangement at 9:20, the arrangement at 9:20 was Bert Kaufman, who has since passed, but I really liked Bert. He owned the license of WGNU 920. I think he sold it a couple years ago, I think. And he brokered that time out. He did not run a commercial radio station, for lack of a better term. On the weekends, it was religious programming. During the week, I think the actual format name was Urban Talk. And he wanted me to buy that station. And going back 11 years here, the issue with buying that station, which I suppose with the benefit of hindsight, I'm glad I didn't, but I did not buy it, double negative, because I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't buy it because the land on which the towers were sitting, which was in the Metro East, was on land that, you know, he was of the opinion, I guess he had been told by, you know, assessors, that it was going to be worth, or was worth, an incredibly large amount of money. So why was that material to the purchase? Because the towers were there. So then that meant we would have had to have bought land elsewhere and then build towers on a new site. Yeah. I'm not an engineer. No. That's not what I do. It struck me as You know,
the costs associated,
and
with doing
he was willing to give me maybe a 5-year lease on that land, but then still in 5 years you gotta.
Right.
And then if it's like, oh, in 4 years I want to sell it. Well, if I'm selling it, nobody's going to buy it from me because they've got this tower issue.
They'll still have to lease it out.
It was a non-starter in 2013. We talked in 2014, 15, 16, 17. I feel like I may have talked to him as recently as 2021. Yeah, probably 2021 because we signed at the end of 2021 to come here, so that would have been possible, I suppose. December 2020, actually, because I remember John Hadley gave me my first contract extension offer at KFNS while I was in Bert's driveway, ironically, to meet with him. But anyway, neither here nor there. When we were there from 2013 to 2016, Inside STL brokered the time Monday through Friday, all 24 hours. Bert owned the station, and he continued to broker the time to churches and pastors like at 10 minutes at a time over the weekends, which is what the Plowhawk was initially doing, playing what they would come in. They would, I don't know, I never got a chance to listen, but I, probably read scripture, and they bought the time to spread the word of their particular church, whatever, God bless. So, therefore, the people who worked for us from 2013 to 2016, they were actually employees of Inside STL. I think some of the people on the off-peak hours, like nights and early mornings, brokered the time.
And they brokered that through you.
They brokered that through me.
Yeah.
So Bert had the final say on everything,
Sure.
which is material to the famed Albert Pujols situation. It was in my agreement with Bert, something that I never thought would come up, but alas, it did, that I had to indemnify him. Jackson, do you know what indemnify means?
Nope.
My South City attempt to describe it would be I would have to take all responsibility for anything broadcast on his station during the time we are brokering it, and therefore cover any expenses and exposure he may have. Well, yeah.
Early, in the infancy of the brokering.
A week in, I got to peel off.
Right.
Just.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. I had to go back and, if I want to torture myself, like look at our QuickBooks from 2013, just to like. But yes, the amount of money that was just spent on that. But whatever, it happened. We survived. It's been 11 years. The people were employees, so but not everybody.
Plowboy was not an inside.
No, as I'm thinking about it, it was those of us on TMA, and at the time that was Brian Ray when we started. Brian with an E to you. Yeah. Sea Monster wasn't with us at the beginning. The Cat, Doug, Plowhawk wasn't with us at that time.
And Willie
wasn't with us at the beginning. It was Brian Ray.
Yeah, because Projo just left.
He left in March.
Yeah.
And Frank Cusimano would have been. I think Charlie Marlowe, Rennie Knott, Bob Ramsey wasn't with us at the beginning. Burwell and Strauss, they were employees. The famed show from the Albert Pujols experience with Kevin Slayton and Jack Clark, they were brokering time. They were not employees. And we were, our attorney was attempting to present that those were not employees. Nobody wanted to hear it. I got blamed because of the way the article was written, whatever, So, and the issue with the way the article was written, it was made, and I wasn't even contacted about it. I just woke up and I'm like, what? Which is really, there are plenty of issues about that moment. That to me is one of the strangest ones that I wasn't contacted.
Yeah.
But that moment in that situation, it was important to point out, well, they're not employees, but the way the article was written is we're a new station, and I believe that got to, Deidre Pujols. That's where I think that was the hey, we got to, go after these people, because the way the article is written is like, oh, we told Jack Clark to say this to get attention for our new station. And I'm like, yeah, that's not true, and you didn't even give me an opportunity to say that's not true. Either way, whatever. So people were employees of Inside STL, but some people were brokering time from Inside STL. So I was like subleasing from Bert, and some people were subleasing from me. So
Got it.
there you go. All right, Jackson, it's 12:55. Now it's time for a quick hitter because no way in hell I'm not taking your $10.
Yeah, you got 6
I
minutes.
mean, it's a win for you, though, because you get a quick QFTA.
It is kind of.
That's kind of nice.
It is kind
so
of
that's
nice.
the cost of a quick QFTA.
Yeah. And I have cash, too. So
yeah, I mean, you're
even
liquid.
easier.
You're liquid as fuck.
I do.
Let's see. I want to go into a because a lot of these are TMA hate explanation theories, or their TMA fantasy radio lineup things. I guess I can read where people are adding as opposed to the subtracting. I just don't feel like it's right if somebody's not here and they don't want them on the. You see what I'm saying? Do you get it? But then I'm sure people are like, well, fuck it, read it. But I don't know. Let's see. Who would they like? Let's see. You asked us to play radio general manager and propose our ideal TMA lineup in lieu of a return of the sports buffet. Wow, that's a nice reset. You probably don't even know that one.
Mm-mm.
That was a show that was on after TMA on 1380. And I can't remember who was on it, but it was called the Sports Buffet. And I think the guys were all kind of heavier. And I don't know if they intentionally chose it to be that, but and so that's what that reference is for. From one of the previous station days, my vote would be for Jackson, Doug, Tim, then makes the subtraction, and Jackson to run the board, or no, someone to run the board so Jackson could be a host, or one of the recent guest hosts like Joey or Maddie, or even someone like Jim Hayes. And then goes into their reasoning for wanting to subtract. So
nice.
So there you go on that one. I got another one here. This is actually from, I believe the person's fine with me using, because it's not the real name anyway, not Caller Adam. This one is from the gentleman who is now going by Warhorse Warrior, but he used to go by Barnhart Brawler.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, the artist formerly known as the Barnhart Brawler, attempting a rebrand now that I'm a dad in my 30s, leaving the 20-something version of me behind. Brother McKernan. I like being addressed as Brother McKernan.
Is that like a Sig Chi thing?
Oh, I would hope not. I can't imagine. Barnhart Brawler doesn't strike me as a Sigma Chi.
Okay.
And I say that really in a way that's complimentary, actually.
But also in Hoke.
Yeah, in Hoke Sigma case. Was listening to a bit of QFTA whilst playing NCAA tackle football last night. Harry Balzac is a 3-star out of Baldwin, is now a QB1 at TCU after a rough freshman year at Arkansas State. And I heard you say no one took you up on the challenge to present a move that would make TMA better. I'll bite. The move I'll make would be to simply, then it's just simply removing. Okay, but let's see. Tim Doug Jackson are the primary talkers, and a player to be named later on the board chimes in very sparingly. Sure, I'd love Chuck or the Cat or some new faces in regularly or even sporadically, but I don't think I have the cap space for those kinds of moves. Not trying to shit on anybody. Some people like some things. You were looking for feedback, and this is mine. I miss listening to TMA. Used to be a big part of my day and my social outlet. Oh, there it is. There was no way it was going to sneak up on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping this email would just have a couple more paragraphs.
Used to be a big part of my day and my social outlet, probably to an unhealthy degree, to be honest. I podcast Balloon Party every day and enjoy that. Try and hit QFTA where I can. Thanks, Warhorse Warrior. Thank you, Warhorse Warrior. You can send yours in, T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. We got to land the plane.
What a fucking racket.
We got to land the plane.
What a fucking racket.
South City. We're landing the plane for Jackson Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been QFTA, Tim McKernan Show.